Welcome to the Women Who Change the World podcast, the place where everyday women world changers share their stories to inspire, challenge, and equip you to change your world.
Are you stuck in your office spinning your wheels? Is it time for you to get away from your business so you can focus on the business? Maybe a retreat. I'm Katie Horner of the For Your Success podcast, and though my husband and I started out in full-time ministry, living well below the poverty line, our six-figure business now gives us ministry opportunities that far outweigh the ones we had in full-time ministry. Join me and my husband Tap on April 30th at the Get Out of the Boat Christian Business Virtual Retreat to recharge your batteries, and let us show you how fun it can be to walk out your faith in your business with joy and confidence, because doing the business that God created you to do can be your best worship. The Get Out of the Boat Christian Business Retreat is April 30th from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m., and you can attend from anywhere online. We can't wait to see you there. You can get all the info and register for your ticket right now at getoutoftheboat.com.
Hey, everybody, it is time for another episode of Women Who Change the World. Today, I got something special for you. I've got a husband and wife team, Jeff and Candi Ashcroft. I know you expected just women, but guess what? Sometimes God puts us together, not just for a family, but for a purpose and a calling. And He has placed a big purpose and calling on their heart and has used it to change other people's lives. I cannot wait for you to hear their story. Jeff and Candi, how are you today?
Doing great, thank you.
Yeah, we're doing great. Thanks for having us.
I am excited to have you here. I'm excited that we merged it and got it where it needed to be in the right schedule. So tell me a little bit about your story. I know a little bit, but tell my audience kind of where you came from to get to the point where you are now.
Okay, I'll start. I grew up in a very loving Christian family. My family always went to church and everything. I eloped in my first marriage, and then things fell apart, and I divorced him, and moved several times, and then found a home and met my wonderful husband I got now, and I have two wonderful kids. And the Lord has truly blessed me with having Jeff in my life, because he has pulled me from a very depressible state after our second daughter was born. Because postpartum depression is very, very real. A lot of people don't think it is, but it is.
Yes, it is.
They like to say it's all in your head.
Oh, yeah. No, it's not. That was very, very real and very.
That's a bad community between my ears.
It was very hard to admit, but I knew something was wrong, so I went to the doctor. But it's been great. Jeff pulls me up when I'm down, and he's been my rock.
And then a little bit about me. I grew up, my parents were married till I was 10 or 11, and my father said, "Son, I'm not going to be here in the morning when you get up. I'm out." And, that really, because he and I went hunting and fishing, and I was his hip. But I love my mom, and so it kind of flip-flopped through our lives. I got into drugs and alcohol really bad. I was like Candi, married before I met her. Luckily, and I thank God that we didn't have any kids to experience that, because I hear kids experiencing that life. And one of the questions that I always asked is, God, why did you save me? Because I had a lot of my friends get killed in car wrecks, or they committed suicide, or they was killed one way or the other, and overdoses. And you hear more and more about that in younger and younger people. And today, my father's been gone almost 11 years now. But one of the things is we did reconcile with one another, and so did my mom. And there's a story behind that we'll get to probably at the end, that my mom and I are really close. I'm an only child. But
we have an interesting story on that.
One of the things, I always grew up doing woodwork and remodeling, and I always asked God, why did you save me? And so Candi and I started a little prayer cross ministry that are a comforting cross that was basically a hobby 5 years ago. And through our church, Operations Christmas Child, that we've sent them, to Honduras, we've sent them to Africa.
You're getting ahead of yourself, darling.
Okay.
Okay. It's okay.
Well, to start off, one of our church members came to us and asked us to make 500 prayer crosses for Operation Christmas Child, for the shoe boxes, because that's how much our church packs in 1 hour for Operation Christmas Child.
For a year.
And for that year. And we were like, sure, we can do that, no problem. And then we got to thinking about it. We have no wood. We don't have what we need. So we were like, gulp.
But we only had 2 weeks.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't laugh. I shouldn't laugh, but that is God setting you up. Oh, he is setting you up.
And so
big time.
We didn't even have a branding iron. And so what we did is we had somebody put a cross on a flathead screwdriver, welded it on there, and we heated it up with a blowtorch to brand all of the crosses.
And that's the way we started.
In our garage, cutting, sanding, and routing and branding all of our crosses.
At 11 o'clock at night.
And we got all 500 done in 2 weeks. Just the two of us. Year. And of course, the following year, they were like, oh, can you do it again? And we're like, give us more time, please. So every year we've done at least 500 prayer crosses for our church. This past year, we did 1,000 prayer crosses for our church. And we're continuing to grow our ministry now and selling them outside of church. We're doing vendor shows and things like that and selling them. But we also give out the prayer crosses.
Because that's what it all started out about, as a comforting cross, is giving people hope that didn't have any hope or doesn't have hope. That even if I have a bad day, I still have hope. I still have faith. And that's something money can't buy. And, there's times and there's needs that when these crosses are needed. We were at a vendor show just last weekend, and that lady was talking about it, and she said, well, I would really love to have one, but I don't have much. And I said, well, you can have one. And when she did it, she just clenched to that cross. And as she was walking, and I mean, just like started praying right there in our booth. But as she walked away, I saw her wiping tears from her eyes. That was God. That didn't have anything to do with Candi and I.
No.
That is the spirit of the Lord himself being worked.
Yeah. God has a big part in these crosses. I ran across somebody in a grocery store. She asked me about flowers, and she goes, do you think these would look good on the pulpit? A friend of mine died, and I want to put these on the pulpit. Do you think these would look pretty? Which one do you like? And I said, either one would look really pretty. And she was very scared, and it's like she had cried a couple of times. And so I went out to the car. She was on
shaky ground.
Went to the car, and I only had one cross in the car, and it wasn't in the best of shape, but it's the only one I had. So I gave it to her. I said, I apologize. I said, this isn't one of the best ones we have, but I'd like for you to have this. I said, this is one of our prayer crosses, and I'd like for you to have it. And she took it and she goes, oh my gosh, thank you. This is awesome. And she gave me a great big old hug. And she goes, she goes, I can't pay you for it. I said, no, I don't want you to pay me for it. I said, this is yours. This is what this is for, to give you comfort. I said, hold it. Let him give you the strength that you need. And that's what these are for. Our neighbor down the street, her husband died suddenly. And so we gave her and her family prayer crosses to give them strength because it tore her up.
Yeah, it was very sudden. So
Yeah, very sudden.
And we just got back in. I had 2 drop-offs, and one was a pretty large, it was 25 cross order for people from our church ministry. But another lady was given a cross and called us yesterday and said, I have some friends in Ohio, we're in South Carolina, and she's going to send them there because they're a little sick, and says, can I order 3 crosses? I said, sure. Got up this morning. She texted, she said, I'm sorry, is there any way I can get 5? Thank you, God. That's the way this has been working.
So as you've been giving these crosses away, I'm asking this question, you've partially answered it. How has God shown up to provide for you? And I'm talking about financially provide for you, because all I'm hearing is you're giving him and you're giving him, you're giving him. And it's like, okay, so the wood's got to be paid for and you have to live.
A lot of the times, I say our mom, because it's an interesting story. His mother was a widow back in 2009, and I lost my mother back in 2016. So now my father and his mother are married. They got married in 2017. So our parents are now married. And so
it started out as the hobby,
yeah,
that she would buy the wood.
Buy the wood for us. So she actually purchases the wood for us. And when we get the wood for about $100 for a good portion of the wood that we use, we can get anywhere from 500 to 600 crosses.
Hopefully. Yeah.
Out of the wood.
Depending on how good the wood is. But what answering your question is how the financial is. We're doing vendor shows now. And just so happened we were at a vendor show last weekend. A gentleman come by that was a fellow vendor, says, I love your booth with all the crosses because we make plaques for the Serenity Prayer, the Lord's Prayer. And he goes, my church is having a craft fair next weekend. Would y'all love to be in it? That is a God wink. That's what amazes me, because being a recovering alcoholic and drug addict, I say I have a new pair of glasses. I've redevoted my life to the Lord. He's opened my eyes to where I'm able to see this, and it is things money can't buy. I mean, yes, he is starting to provide, because I'm having to give up my remodeling business due to health issues. And we're literally going on faith now, making this twist.
But I also work part-time with Hallmark. I have 4 different stores I work with and go in and do Hallmark cards.
Okay.
So I do have a part-time job there.
But these crosses and other crosses, plaques, is going to be our financial income as a full-time for us. But we're solely depending on God alone. We're picking up the work. Yeah, we're picking up the shovel. But he's given us the power being able to people in our lives to be able to do this. I didn't know you 6 weeks ago, but God knew that, you
Yep.
know, and that's little things like that. He's given me the ability to see that and really say thank you for helping us.
Well, we ended up meeting in doing business with God that's run by Katie Horner. It's a fabulous program that I was actually one of her first students.
Yay.
Cool.
Program. So I will tell you, keep doing it. It is so worth it. Um, so I have I'm going to backtrack a little bit. I have a couple of questions of why a cross and why is it shaped the way it's shaped?
The reason why it's shaped the way it is because it fits in the hands so well.
Okay.
It just fits in the hands. I know this is a podcast and nobody can see it, but it fits in the hands. So that's what it feels good in the hands, and you can just hold it against your heart, and it's comforting. It is so comforting.
It's almost like you, and I hate to say that, Lord or God, that he's in a piece of wood,
Mhm.
but trust me, at times you can feel the spirit come out of it. I
Mhm.
mean, people going through chemo, breast cancer, whatever.
Mhm. So it's more of the concept of at the cross, all of our sins were forgiven. Everything is taken
Exactly.
care of. It's all done. It's all over. And so that's really what comes through is that you're reminded by holding it in your hand.
Yes.
We're
It's done. Everything's taken care of. You're going to win. It doesn't matter. I know you're facing hard times, but it's you win.
Mhm.
we're not the ones in control. He
Mhm.
is. And that's the reason why I hold the cross some of the times is because I got to make myself realize I'm not in control here, God. You are. And that's what it reminds me of.
The-
Yeah, as a friend of ours says often, God is not surprised, and I'm like, yes, but I'd like to be not surprised as often too.
exactly. Please let me know ahead of time. Yeah.
Because in the way that you bless people, it kind of reminds me of George Mueller.
Mhm.
Have you heard of George Mueller?
No, I have not.
Okay.
I think I've heard the name, but
The-
I don't know.
the
I'm
name
trying
is-
to picture where.
The name is probably familiar. He was a preacher who decided that he needed to open an orphanage, and he refused
Okay.
to ask for donations.
Mm.
And so when money was running low, he would pray about it, and then somebody would say, "Mr. Mueller, I felt like I should give this to you today."
I love it.
I heard about it because my kids like to watch VeggieTales, so there's a
Mhm.
VeggieTales episode about it, and he's talking to his wife, and he's like, "So what are we gonna feed?" And his wife says, "We don't have anything." And there's a reporter. It's VeggieTales version. A reporter there going,
Okay. Yeah.
watching what's going on. So they're praying, God, please provide our food that day. And there's a knock on the door, and another one of the VeggieTales walks in. He goes, "My milk truck fell over. Do you want this milk before it spoils?" And I made too, and then the bread man comes in and says, "I made too much bread today. Do you want some of this bread so it doesn't go bad?" And it's a very basic thing because you're talking to children, but it's very realistic of
God provides.
God providing, like what happened with you guys with the 500 crosses. You're like, I have no wood, I have nothing, and you want this done when? Okay, sure.
Yeah.
And so it's a buildup of you guys beginning to trust God to provide for you to do the work that He's called you to do.
Yes. You're exactly right, because he is answering my question of why did you save me? Uh, but I feel like Candy says, but you do. But sometimes I feel as a human that I don't do much. And they said, "Well, Jeff, you've done so much." No, not really. It's just I done what God asked me to do.
But that's a lot. Don't
There you
dismiss
go.
that because
I
that's a lot.
and it is, and it's just like not having wood. What are you going to do? You're going to depend on me. And so, we're so much happier now. It's, I hate to use it in this perspective, but the way I lived my life for so many years of drugs and alcohol, money can't buy the highs that I live when little God winks happened. You can't touch that, and and it's only by God that we've been able to do what we do and continue to do. I have no idea where this story's going, but I'm here for the ride and enjoying it. And
As
I
long
think
as we're, and what do you say? We follow good, orderly direction, we're following God.
that's right.
And
as long as we stay out of the way.
Yeah, that's the hard part. It's like, I want to control.
Exactly.
So tell me about a customer that really got to you, and that not their whole story, because I don't want to share other people's stories, but
Right.
the little bit they told you that you can share with us.
The one that stands out for me is I used to work with the Department of Juvenile Justice, so I traveled the state. And I just
That's a
happened to
good
have
one.
a couple of prayer crosses
That's a good
with me.
one.
I always carried my prayer crosses with me. And I stopped to try and get a drink. And the person's like, well, I'm getting ready to close. I said, well, I've got a trip back to Columbia. I just would like to get a drink, please, if I could. She goes, well, I can't get anything out of the kitchen. I'm closing. My husband's going through treatments. We're closing. We've been closing early and stuff. I said, yes, ma'am. I said, thank you. I appreciate you, opening up so I could get a drink. And I said, I've got something in my car for you. Let me go get it. And I handed her both of these. I handed her a cross for her and her husband. And it was the biggest hug that I had gotten. And she just fell into my arms. She goes, oh my goodness, these are beautiful. I can't believe this. I said, hopefully this will give you peace and comfort. Let him take it to his treatments, have him hold it. You hold yours and pray because he's in control. I know we're not. And she goes, yes, I know, but oh my goodness, these are awesome. And yes, we're going to use these. And it's just, that was one of the ones for me.
Yeah.
That's the ultimate one for me.
Yeah, I remember you coming home talking about that. Uh, I don't know. It just seems like to me that it seems like the next one is better than the last one, and it's not saying anything. It's just that new one is even bigger and better, and just the way it affects you. And I think it's how the Lord is saying, keep following me. I will show you the way, and the lady that stopped by our booth, and she didn't know too much. And then when I gave her the cross, she just clenched onto it, and I could see her mouth moving. She was praying. And I told her, I said, ma'am, just keep that. Even though we were at a craft show, vendors to financially pay our bills and feed us, the Lord said, do that. But it wasn't me that done it. And that's the thing. My oldest daughter, was sitting behind me, and she kept nudging me to do this. So the Lord was working through me to my daughter to get this cross in this lady's hands.
Well, I think you were with another customer at the time.
Well,
and so Lainey
right.
actually got up.
But anyway, it's just the way it happened. And as the lady walked by, I saw her wiping tears from her eyes.
Just makes you feel good that you brought
just
peace and comfort to somebody.
Yeah. I don't know. You can't go down to the grocery store and buy that.
No, you can't.
So it's very peaceful.
Yeah.
So here's a Fun one for you. If you could go back and talk to your 18-year-old self, what would you tell them?
Not to get married the first time. I was a senior in high school.
Wow. That is a
I was a senior in high
yikes.
school.
You only get one thing. You got to tell it fast.
Wake up and smell the roses. Quit doing what you're doing. There is a better life, and you don't need to run it.
I would stick with the thing, Candi, of don't marry the guy. Don't marry the guy. I mean, there is just so much under that yeah, we don't have time to cover that.
No, that's a whole nother one.
It'll go on my other podcast, but not
right.
one.
That's the first one that came to my mind.
So, what is the most important thing you have learned since you started this?
That I need to get focused more on getting closer to God, doing daily devotions, because ultimately that has gotten Jeff and I closer to each other and to God.
And I have to agree with Candi on that it because we work together. Obviously, we're married. We live together. It's like
Yeah, I hope
24/7, and it's like, But we kid people that I'm the left, she's the right, but tomorrow it might be she's the left and I'm the right. We never start or at the same place, obviously, but yeah, being closer to God and doing daily devotionals. She might do it in the morning, I do it at night, but it's where our comfort zone is, and it has brought us closer together. But as long as we literally wipe our hands of it and let God run it, I have no idea where this is going. You know, the success that we're learning now is only in our hearts that for the Lord, and everything else will be great. And
I love the way that he is the president of our company. And we're just the CEOs.
Yep, that's right.
It is amazing when you let go and you just let God say, okay, go for it. I think Toby Mac has a song say, hey, if you want to steal my show, God, you go right ahead. I'm just here. I'm just here for the party. You just do your thing.
That's right.
It's and that what you're saying there is something that when I talk to my clients, that's what I tell them. You've got to have that foundational relationship with God because it's so important. It's so important if you want to do anything, like not lose your mind with 7 children. It's important.
Yeah.
Well, and when we actually went through Holy Week during this, and this is the first time I really got a lot out of Holy Week. It was so inspiring.
Even though how many years we've been together and been going to Holy Week, but there again, it is God opening our eyes, opening our hearts to what He wants us to do, and we're truly listening this time. Not as you were saying, let go, let God. But when I did, I always wanted to jerk it back, and I do better than you. Excuse me.
He likes to look over you and say, yeah, you go ahead. See what, yeah. Let me know how that works for you.
Right.
So what is your best tip for making the world a better place? Something that any person can do, no matter their talent.
No matter their talent, I think that they can, well, I don't know if everybody could do it, but they need to keep smiling and keep going and keep a focus on positive things in their life. We had a struggle last week, but we kept a positive attitude. And from that, I mean, you just gotta,
Well,
stay positive.
yeah, and to piggyback on that is, I think the one thing that everybody can do is put somebody else before yourself.
Yeah.
Open the door, let somebody else go first instead. Oh, excuse me, get out of the way, let me go first. A Black Friday mentality. Uh, you know, just be kind and generous and let somebody else go first instead of you.
Okay. I love that. I love that because we can always smile and we can always give hope.
Mhm.
My children say that I'm a hope dealer. Instead of a drug dealer, I'm a hope dealer. I'm always dealing hope out to people like a deck of cards.
That's great.
I take after my mom and my grandmother a lot. And they're both
Yeah.
with our good Lord now. And I take after them quite a bit.
Big heart. Big heart.
I try. And that's the way I try and live my heart. I try and live as a servant for God.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I want to do. I want to be a servant for God. Hopefully that's what people see in me, is me being a servant for God.
And then, like you were saying, Samantha, that be a light, be a beacon of light. That's what we're called to do. And let somebody else see it and ask you, hey, what's going on? It opens that door. What do you have? You have hope to deal, and so it's the same thing with us. That's what we try to do every day.
And try is the key word there.
Yes.
Yeah. Because perfectionism doesn't exist in my sphere. Sorry.
No.
Well,
we're human.
We're human and we fall way short, but get up, dust us off, and we'll keep on going because, we God's forgiven us.
And we walk in the favor of God, people.
Amen.
Exactly.
Walk in the favor of God.
And the one thing that I have found Jeff and I doing more and more is I know I have been waking up thanking God, and I've been going to bed thanking God.
No matter what.
No matter what.
Good, bad, or indifferent. And
so if you could have a billboard, what would that billboard say?
Wow.
My story's not over yet.
Oh,
I like that.
Oh, that is good.
And have one of these hanging it on there. Have
Yeah,
a cross hanging
well,
it.
and the thing is, the billboard would actually say your story's not over yet with that on there.
Right.
Because the billboard's for other people.
Yep.
Oh, that is good. Oh, I've got cold chills now. Okay, so here's
Who comes up with some good ones?
Not me. I was the Lord on that one.
So I have one more question for you guys.
Sure.
How has your calling, this work that you're doing, affected your legacy? And what I mean by your legacy is your children and the people you have direct contact with, because we've already talked about how it's affected the community.
Mm-hmm.
But because this requires a lot of work and it requires a lot of time, and your children need you and they want you, and how has what you're doing affected them negatively and positively? Because we got both sides of it. I mean, they're kids.
Mm-hmm.
Well, luckily with our daughters, granted they may not go to the shop with us and work in the shop a lot, but they're with us on the weekends. Our 16-year-old wants to be there on the weekends with us at these shows.
Believe it or not.
So that's a good thing. Granted, she doesn't really care for me being a deacon in the church because it takes too much time. But with, negatively, they can't. Neither one of them can really be at the shop long because of the dust and everything.
They take allergy shots.
Even though we
one
try and
does.
keep the dust down because of the allergies. That's about the negative thing with them. But
and I think too that they've heard us talk about the stories behind the crosses, but with them being at the vendor shows now and really they're actually seeing it now, and they're starting to feel that the spirit of the Lord working through these crosses.
Our oldest more than the youngest.
Yeah.
But
they're starting to get it.
and there again, the youngest one will get there. She'll get there. She's still 16. She's a teenager. The 21-year-old's a little bit more mature and always has been.
And the 16-year-old thinks that just because we are a business owner, you can go anywhere you want or this or that. And I go, yeah, I don't think so.
And the company's actually named after the girls. The Laka Wood Art, it's Laka, and it's our daughter's initials.
Yeah.
I like that. So I end up doing this to myself with every interview. As you're talking, I'm like, okay, there's one more thing that I want to know. And so here is it. This is it. I promise. I will not keep you guys much longer. Whether my audience is interested in anything that I put in my podcast, I am crazy curious about everybody in their life, and I love stories. So you're talking to me and I'm learning. I'm taking notes, people. I'm taking notes. So what is my brain went faster than my mouth. What is the biggest challenge that you have overcome in your business that gave you the greatest change? This is like you have to face a challenge to get a change. So no challenge, no change. So what's your biggest challenge you faced that gave you the greatest change?
What would you say, darling? Because
I don't know. There was a lot of challenges along the way.
We still have challenges.
We still have challenges, but
because the shop floor is still falling in.
Yes, part of it's concrete, part of it's gravel, and we do the step down and step up. And we have this 2-floor shop, but it's only 6 inches of concrete that you step on. But
they didn't build it very well.
I think besides all of the challenges, whether it might be for us finding a good supplier for our cedar wood has kind of started to be a chore right now.
Yeah.
But I'm not worried about it because I know God's got a plan, whatever it is. But I'm like you, Samantha. I wish he'd hurry up and let me know what it is. But I think as we have overcome, at least to me, that really depending on God that has gave us that foundation that it's going to be okay. And I think that's kind of where, I don't know if that answers your question, but that's kind of where I am on that.
We're going to have challenges no matter what. Life is in itself is a challenge, no matter business, personal, whatever. We're going to have challenges, and by the grace of God, we'll get through it.
And I believe, and I think Candi does too, but I'll let her answer for herself, that when we do get on the other side of whatever the challenge is, our faith and strength is so much stronger.
Mm-hmm.
And I always look forward to that. I don't look forward to the trials and tests and that he throws. I say that he throws a curveball in my bicycle spokes, and I kind of lumble along a little bit.
You're going the wrong way.
Exactly.
Well, thank you for spending time talking to me today. I appreciate it so much. There's going to be a link in the description so that you can go to their website and fill out a little form and get a cross for yourself. They have one available for each person who wants one. So be sure to check out the link. Be sure to check out their website. And there's also going to be a link to a YouTube video about them working with their church for Operation Christmas Child, which has a huge place in my heart. I love Operation Christmas Child. That's all I have for you guys today. I will talk to you soon. Have a blessed day. Love you all.
Are you stuck in your office spinning your wheels? Is it time for you to get away from your business so you can focus on the business? Maybe a retreat. I'm Katie Horner of the For Your Success podcast, and though my husband and I started out in full-time ministry, living well below the poverty line, our 6-figure business now gives us ministry opportunities that far outweigh the ones we had in full-time ministry. Join me and my husband Tap on April 30th at the Get Out of the Boat Christian Business Virtual Retreat to recharge your batteries, and let us show you how fun it can be to walk out your faith in your business with joy and confidence, because doing the business that God created you to do can be your best worship. The Get Out of the Boat Christian Business Retreat is April 30th from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m., and you can attend from anywhere online. We can't wait to see you there. You can get all the info and register for your ticket right now at getoutoftheboat.com.